What is up? So I am doing a shoot for a friend, shooting a friend, giving him some nice photos which you can use for Facebook or Instagram or anything he does. And we've got a pretty nice rooftop location. View, albeit windy and knocking over my softbox. Sandbags important. So yeah, left my strap. I hate that I left my camera strap, so I can't have a free hand, but things are going pretty good. Let me just make sure that this thing doesn't topple over again. What were we doing? That way. Let me just put him against that thing over there. So we are shooting with the 85 1.8. We have a one light setup with the Godox V1. And we're using the Triopo 65 centimeter octabox with a grid. So that's our setup. And we're trying to see what else we can do here. What else we can do with this rooftop location. Yeah, it's pretty much just a bare rooftop. So we're gonna do what we can do. Shoot what we can shoot. It would be interesting if we could go up to a higher location, but that is all we got. Yeah, so it's just a nice plain rooftop. Now let's get you situated over here and we'll start shooting, so we can capture whatever we're doing. Nice. And what we want to do,
when will be my movie release?
yeah. So you're gonna wanna stand here. Welcome back to the channel and to the first video for 2021, not to mention the first video in a series I'd like to call Portraits with Strangers. The general idea is that I reach out to strangers and I take their portraits. In this first video though, we have my friend Hankush, who is no stranger, and I want to say big thank you to him for having me take his portrait. I've been wanting to do this, we've been wanting to do this for some time, but the pandemic got in the way, so it wasn't until this weekend that we actually found time and we finally did the portrait shoot. So thank you so much. Now, as I mentioned, Portraits with Strangers, Hankush is no stranger, but he is a stranger to having his portrait taken. As far as I can recall, I don't think he's ever really had his portrait taken like this. And in contrast to my previous videos where I'm working with models, models know how to pose and angle in front of a camera. You lift your camera and they do their thing. They need very minimal guidance. With Hankush though, he's not aware of how to pose and stand up and all of that, so he does need some direction. So we're using the Sony a7 III, and we've got the 85 1.8 and the 50 1.8 later on. It's late and we still have... If it ain't chickens, it's loud motorcycles. So, Sony a7 III, 85 1.8 and the 50 1.8. And we have the Godox V1 on a softbox, Triopo 65 centimeter with a grid. But it's also important to remember that we have two light sources, the Godox V1 and the sun. So we're on the rooftop and we just had an amazing blanket of clouds and that sun was nice and diffused. And that was our backlight. So you'll notice a lot of the shots I take of Hankush were backlit, and I'm just using the Godox on the softbox to fill and make sure that Hankush doesn't fall into the shadows. Because if you take photos with just your camera and no other lighting, if it's backlit, if you expose for your subject, the background's gonna be blown out and your subject's to be lit, or you'll expose for the background and you can see the details in the background, but your subject's going to be in the shadow. So the Godox, we were using that mainly as a fill. And one general rule I follow, you're going to notice this here, is that wherever your subject is facing, in this case Hankush, wherever he is facing, that's where the light is, generally. So if he's facing left, the light's going to be coming somewhere here from the left. Not always the case though. And what I do, if you notice, I angle it in a way that it's on the left, but since it's a big light source and it's close up to him, what that does is it eliminates any shadows cast by the unevenness of the skin. Because we're all human and our skin isn't just flat like plastic. We're going to have some texture and an unevenness there. And lighting coming from an angle may cast shadows, and with the softbox what that does is it eliminates that. So it eliminates any shadows cast by the unevenness of the skin and gives you a more flattering look. And you'll notice even when with the shot where the sun is behind us and Hankush is in front of us, the light is just there as a fill, just to eliminate any unevenness that the sun might cause. Because the sun is a small light source. Since it's far away, it's very small, and it can cast harsh shadows. So the softbox is just there, the light is just there to fill in and make sure we eliminate any unevenness and any shadows that may be cast on the face, thus giving him a more flattering portrait. You'll notice that later on when we moved back into his apartment to take a couple of shots, that's where I switched to the 50 because we didn't have much room to move around, and we went for a Rembrandt style lighting where you can see that nice triangle formed by the light spilling through on the opposite side of his cheek there. I wanted to do that, but more so I wanted to go for what's called a chiaroscuro lighting. I might not be pronouncing that right, so I apologize if I'm butchering the pronunciation. But what that is it's a technique where you produce an image, a high contrast image, where your subject is nicely lit, then slowly falls into the shadow. And the background is also that lit that way. It's a darker than your subject. In other times, in other cases, the background might be just completely black. So that's what it is. It's a high contrast image, and that's the reason why I love shooting with flash, because it provides you a degree of control that would otherwise be a lot more difficult if you were just working with natural light. You could achieve the lighting with just natural light, but it's a lot more difficult to do. It's not impossible, but it's a lot more challenging. Flash, just, I want the light here, set it up, and you're good. You can get whatever lighting you want just that way with flash. It's important to understand natural light, how to shoot with natural light. Do that, and then understand how to add flash and work with both, right? There's no one thing is better than the other, right? But that's specifically why I like shooting with flash. Yeah, those are mainly the points I wanted to make here. If you've made it this far into the video, well, a big thank you. Do consider dropping a like and subscribing, and especially if any of the things I've shared here has helped you out. I plan to produce more videos like this where it's geared towards showing behind the scenes and how I shoot and providing tips. I may not be able to speak while shooting because I'm a one-man team, so it's hard to shoot and take video and talk at the same time. But yeah, I'll do my best. Hopefully you'd like the content, and I'll catch you in a later video. Cheers.